In addition to your credit score, your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI, is an important part of your overall financial health. Figuring out your DTI may help you determine how comfortable you are with your current debt and also decide if whether applying for a new credit card or a new car payment is the right choice. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Let's get into the video. So what is DTI? When you apply for credit, lenders evaluate your DTI to help determine the risk with you taking on another payment. Your DTI is how much you owe each month to how much you earn. It's the percentage of your gross monthly income before taxes that goes towards payments for rent, mortgage, credit cards, or any other debts. A low debt-to-income ratio shows a good balance between debts and income. In other words, if your DTI is 15%, that means 15% of your gross monthly income goes towards your debt payments. On the other hand, a high DTI ratio can signal that an individual has too much debt in comparison to his monthly income. Borrowers with low debt-to-income ratios are likely to handle their monthly debt payments more efficiently. Banks and financial creditors like to see a low DTI ratio before issuing a loan to a potential borrower. This makes sense as lenders want to make sure that their borrowers aren't overextended, meaning they owe more than their income can cover. As a general guideline, 45% is the highest DTI a borrower can have and still qualify for a mortgage. Ideally, lenders prefer a debt-to-income ratio of 36% or lower, with no more than 28% of that servicing a mortgage or paying rent. Credit score and the amount of money you have in reserves or your savings account can allow for a higher DTI allowance. The maximum DTI ratios varies from lender to lender, but a good rule of thumb is the lower the DTI ratio, the better chance the borrower has of being approved. Remember, the DTI ratio is a personal financial measure that compares your monthly debt payment to your monthly gross income. Your gross income is your pay before taxes and other deductions are taken out. DTI equals your total monthly debt payment divided by your gross income. You sum up your monthly debt payments to include credit cards, car payments, loans, and mortgages. Divide your total debt payment by your gross monthly income. The results will yield you a decimal that you multiply by 100, and that'll give you your DTI ratio. So let's walk through a quick example. If your gross monthly income is currently $6,000 and you currently have a mortgage or rent payment of $1,500, a student loan of $100 a month, and all your other debt payments are $400 a month, your DTI formula will look something like this. So we take the $2,000 divided by $6,000, which will give us a 33% debt-to-income ratio. Credit bureaus don't look at your income when they rate your credit, so your DTI ratio has little impact on your actual score. But borrowers with a high DTI ratio might also have a high credit utilization ratio, and that accounts for 30% of your score. Credit utilization ratio is the outstanding balance on your credit cards in comparison to the max limit. If you have a credit card with a $4,000 limit and you have a $2,000 balance on it, you have a 50% credit utilization ratio. Ideally, you want to keep your credit utilization ratios below 30% when you're applying for mortgages. Lowering your credit utilization ratio will not only boost your credit score, but will most likely lower your DTI as well as you're paying down debts. To get your DTI under better control, focus on paying down debt with these 4 tips. Tip number 1, track your spending by creating a budget and reducing any unnecessary spending. Make sure to include all your expenses no matter how big or how small so you can allocate extra dollars towards paying down debt. Tip number 2, map out a plan to pay down your debt. 2 popular methods of paying down debt are the snowball method and the avalanche method. The snowball method involves paying down your smallest debt first while paying the minimum on the other debts. Once the smallest balance is paid off, you move on to the next smallest balance, and so on and so forth until all your debts are paid off. On the other hand, the avalanche method, also known as the ladder method, focuses on your highest interest rate debt first. Once you pay your high interest rate off, you move on to the next highest interest rate, so on and so forth until they're all paid off. No matter which way you choose, the key is to stick to your plan. Tip number 3, make your debt more affordable. If you have high interest credit cards, look at ways of lowering your interest rate. To start, call your credit card companies and ask if they can lower your interest rate. You'd be more successful going this route if you're in good standing and make your payments on time. In some cases, you might realize it's better to consolidate your credit card debt by transferring high interest cards to current cards or a new card that have a lower interest rate. Taking out a personal loan is another way you can consolidate high interest debt into a loan with lower interest rates and one payment to one company. Tip number 4, avoid taking on more debt. Don't make large purchases on your credit card or new loans for major purchases. This is especially important before and during a home purchase. Not only will taking on a new loan drive up your DTI ratio, it can hurt your credit score too. Likewise, too-minute credit inquiries can lower your score as well. Stay laser focused on paying down debt without adding to the problem. Now that you know how to calculate your debt to income ratio, go ahead and figure yours out. Is it too high? Is it where it should be? It may take some work, but you should start working on it right away. Remember, if you have any questions, reach out to your lender and talk to them about your situation. I hope you found this video helpful. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.